Right, everybody, what's going on, man? Welcome to a Premiership weekly podcast. It's the first one that we're doing, and we've got some fans here from other teams, and it's pretty much all good. So just want to welcome everybody and welcome all the first timers who are coming here. Just our love to talk about football. It seems like just the other day that the season finished and we're already jumping into the next one. So listen, just want to say hi to some of the new guys that we've got. Ian, introduce yourself and tell us who you support and how long you've supported them.
I'm a lifelong West Ham fan through thick and thin, mostly thin, which you guys wouldn't appreciate, I suppose, mostly being sort of Arsenal and Spurs and Man City and everything. But yeah, no, I've supported West Ham all my life, and I suppose what we're going through now is just the next phase in the disaster that is West Ham. But you know, you're West Ham for life. You stick with it, don't you?
Yeah, literally, mate. Luke, you want to introduce yourself, give yourself a shout out, and what team do you follow, mate?
My name's Luke. I follow Spurs lifelong. The reason that is remember every cup final, we used to come to you, Wembley. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
And we used to come, and then we would go down to Wembley and watch the games. And then we got in to see the Spurs QPR game. And that's from then. It just sort of went on from there, really.
Excellent. And so Drew, I've been trying to actually get you onto the show for quite a while, mate. How have you been?
It's because I'm a rarity, though. I'm a Man City fan that remembers like before 2008.
A proper City fan.
Oh yeah, I remember when Georgie K played for the team.
Oh yes, some player.
Wow. Yeah. So we're going way back now. We're going way back.
Oh,
and so, how long have you been a Man City fan then?
Long enough to remember Richard Edgehill being club captain.
Wow.
So I'm just going to add on that, probably the nicest man in football as well. I've been City my entire life since my nan accidentally brought me a City shirt when everyone at school wanted United shirts.
I like that, accidentally.
Yeah,
I want a blue one, Mum.
She's an old lady, but no, she got me a City shirt. I didn't want to admit to my friends that she got it wrong. And I kind of just fell in love with City at that point.
Literally, guys. So, and you guys know Bertram and Tony. Bertram, shout out yourself, man. Say what's going on, bro.
Well, it's good to have fans from other teams joining us for what I call sort of preseason podcast. I'm looking forward to a very spirited discussion. I always respect individuals who support teams that are not in the top upper echelon of the league, because those are really true core fans. I think, as Drew alluded to, a lot of times people jump on the bandwagon when you're successful, but not there when things are not going well. So, more power to you.
I hear you, man. And Tony, shout out yourself. What's going on, bro?
Hey, guys. Nice to see your presence, as always. Pleasure to be back on.
And how's your son? How's your son? I hope he's getting better now.
His COVID test came back negative, so we are
good.
Back up and running again. He's still got a bit of a sniffle and a cough, but yeah, at least that premonition of impending doom is no longer upon us.
Excellent. Ebony, how are you getting on?
Did you test him for antibodies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit soon though, because he only came home Wednesday and started to have the high temperature. Yeah, we got to be careful with our kids out there, man. So guys, let's get straight into it. As I said, it only seemed like yesterday. I can't believe that we're going into a new Premier League season. I haven't even bought my new top yet. So I thought, because Luke's a Spurs fan, I thought I'd just do him the courtesy of putting on a blue top today.
I think Ebony joined us too, Apollo.
Yeah. She's here. She's down at the bottom. So guys, listen. Three familiar clubs have been promoted into the Premiership. West Bromwich Albion, Fulham, Leeds, all return to top flight. So I think the first thing I want to ask all of you guys, let's deal with the elephant in the room. First of all, is who's going to win the league? I think that's the biggest thing that everybody is going to be talking about. It's the biggest thing that's going to be on everyone's mind. I haven't done my predictions yet because I was a bit worried about it. You guys know I went for Liverpool last year. So who's going to win the league? I think I'm going to go first and do my top four. I think it's going to be I was going to say City, but I'll have to go with Liverpool again. And the reason for that is City's defense is just so bad. I don't think they've got a defense good enough to win the title. So I'm going to go Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and Man United as my top 4. Ian.
Going to differ slightly. I think Pep is after revenge big time this year, and having seen the way Liverpool played after the lockdown, and they figured they got the league wrapped up, and they were absolutely dreadful coming back after the lockdown. And I've got a funny feeling it could be a little bit after the Lord Mayor's show this year for Liverpool. They're still going to be brilliant. They're still going to be up there, and I'm sure they'll finish second. But I think City are going to be top of the table come the end of the season. And like you, I mean, with the new acquisitions, I think Chelsea could easily cruise into third place. And I think Man United have just about got enough to stay above the likes of Arsenal and Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the new challenge facing Liverpool is arguably tougher than winning the title in the first place. So, and that's, I mean, it took them 30 years to get around to doing it. To do a back-to-back, that's going to be tough, man. And
it's always harder when you're the ones with the target on your backs.
Agreed. We got Ashek in the comments. What's going on, Ashek? Nice to see you, bro. Luke, who's your top 4, mate? He's going to throw Spurs in there.
Right.
Listen to this.
No, I'm going to be biased. Man City to win.
Ooh, another City. That's 2 for City we've got there. Who's going to be your whole top 4?
Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man United.
Excellent. Drew, I think we all know where Drew's going at the moment. Drew, who you think's going to win the title? Who's your top 4?
City, I think that they'll win the title, and I think it'll be by quite a bit as well.
Oh wow!
I think because last time, let's be honest, it was effectively on goal difference last time we won the title. We had 2 clear points, but Liverpool were a better team the last time we won the title, and then they won it last season. But defending it's going to be a lot more difficult for them. I think the pressure is going to tell. Players like Jordan Henderson are finally going to start to show they're not actually as good as what everyone thinks. And I think they're going to step backwards a little bit. I think Chelsea, second.
I think what's crazy about it is obviously we beat Chelsea 2-1 in the last few weeks of the season, stopping them from actually breaking the Premiership records. But imagine they literally had to they had to literally nearly beat the Premiership record to win the title. I mean, come on, they had to be that good in order to win the title, to nearly beat the Premiership record. Crazy. So who's your top 4?
It's going to be City, Chelsea. I'm going to say United and then Liverpool.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Right, so you, hold on. You're looking to bury Liverpool.
The thing about Liverpool, what you got to remember is last year Liverpool went pretty much injury-free for the whole season, and you can't see them doing that again. And if they lose one of their big guns, they haven't got the strength in depth that the likes of City, a Salah or a Mane or someone like that. If they get a big injury there, they're in trouble.
That's been a problem. I really don't. I don't see. I see the way Liverpool have created the system that they can just move pieces about. I really don't see them having the biggest issue if they lose it would be Van Dijk.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh,
I was going to say Van Dijk would be the biggest issue
for them. But up front, I don't think they got a problem.
No, up front, I got to agree. But I think a big loss is going to be, because it looks like Wijnaldum is teetering on the edge of going to Barca at the moment. If he goes and they don't bring in Thiago from Munich, I think that's a massive impact on their team overall. Because last season, when Wijnaldum is fully fit, he is the engine of that team. I know they score a lot of goals, but they need that kind of like energy in midfield. If they were to lose Wijnaldum and not replace him, I think that's going to be, I think that would be massively damaging to them.
Don't think so. I think they've got players who just fill in that position. I think they all understand the system that Klopp plays. And I think if they do lose Wijnaldum, I think it'd be 1 in, 1 out. I think, any money that they get for Wijnaldum would finance Thiago
Yeah.
I mean, I like Origi. I think Origi is. I think he's probably one of the most.
I think Origi's massively underused.
He's so underrated. Origi is, man. I think it's. I heard from James today that Spurs have made a phone call about Origi. You might not have heard that come through the grapevine yet, Luke. But yeah, they've made a phone call inquiring about Origi.
I heard it was Patsy Deco. You know Deco from Salzburg.
Yeah. They've been after him. I think that's has gone through the system. A couple of the agents were talking about that a few days ago, but Origi was definitely today, and they really like him. He wants more playing time. That's all it is.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, when you're at a club and you've won the title, where are you going to go after that?
Yeah,
you know, your value's gone up. It's like in the NFL, isn't it? When you win the Super Bowl, your value shoots through the roof. That's the time when you really got to go and look about a new contract. So I'm surprised they haven't done a lot of business. Bertram, who's going to be your top four and who's going to be a winner?
So the top four is depending upon a number of different situations. I think someone alluded to injuries for Liverpool. I think defense win titles, and none of those teams, to me, defense oppresses me. City, unless they go get Koulibaly, will struggle defensively. Because Fernandinho's replacement doesn't really work. And Ake played for Bournemouth, who was leaking goals. Chelsea players have to be blended in. Whenever there are new players, they're jockeying for positions. There's going to be some dissension that ranks because people are going to lose their places. Liverpool is, to me, the team that seems to be well settled. But again, if they get injuries, they're going to challenge. I think Man U's defense is not that good. I don't rate Maguire that highly. He doesn't have a very good partner. I do rate Wan-Bissaka. They don't have anyone on the left because Shaw is not optimum. So every team in the top four have weaknesses. So I can't pick City because Aguero is always injured and Jesus is not the answer. So I have to go with Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and it will be Arsenal if we get Partey and Aouar, because I'm not convinced about Man U defense or their keeper. I think, unless Guardiola revert back to his Barcelona days and stop over-managing, because there's no way in hell Leon should beat Man City. It's ridiculous. He over-manages, he overthinks it. He doesn't have a person with a stature in his organization to challenge his decisions. And so he makes decisions which are poor sometimes. In the last 3 or 4 seasons, and think about it, he has never won the Champions League without Messi. He went to Bayern with a very good team, hasn't won for 3 years. Beaten City hasn't won, and he has all the resources at his disposal. That's why I think Klopp is the best manager by far, because when he plays against a team, he picks out certain players, he buys them for less than 40 mil, and he does really well.
Excellent. Hold on a second, guys. The Man United fan that was supposed to come on the show, he looks like he might be coming in. But let's see what some of the other guys are saying. So, look, Ashik is saying it's going to be Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Tariq is saying it's going to be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and then Arsenal, and then United. So my man's giving me a nice one. He's making sure he's giving me a top 5. Cool K is saying it's going to be Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea. I don't think they got the news about Emi Martinez. Vinci has gone for City, Chelsea second, United. What kind of madness is that, Vinci? City, Chelsea.
No. I'm happy about this. That is agreement. That is my vindication right there.
He's gone City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Leicester. What?
Where is Marino? Where is Spurs?
Yeah, exactly. Nowhere.
I don't know what's going on there, man. Luke, you have to big up your boys, man. I don't know. My man's not even putting them in the top 6.
I know. I don't know.
Styles gone City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, Everton, and then Spurs. Wow. You guys in the chat are brutal tonight, man. Ebony, who's going to be your top 5, your top 4, and your champion?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say that Arsenal will be there, but bearing in mind that, everyone knows by now, I'm the biggest fan of a particular goalkeeper.
Don't say
but nonetheless, I I'm not, it's always tricky doing predictions because it really does depend on who buys who and who we buy as well. It depends on, everyone's defenses. It depends on everyone's goalkeepers. It depends on a lot of things. I'd really like I'd like to think that, we'll be in the top 4, but I don't. So I'd probably go for Man City being the winners. Although their defense is rocky, but at the same
the defense
time,
hasn't been really fixed.
But they've got goals. They've got goal scorers that can compensate for that. I think Liverpool will come second. I don't think they will retain the title. It's always difficult to retain the title. Mm-hmm. Then I think maybe United, even though their defense is woeful as well, but then again they've got goal scorers. And and I think I'm not quite sure actually who's going to come fourth. Probably Chelsea.
Excellent. Tony, what's your top 4 and who's going to be your champions? Nice to see you, Cass. Man United fans in the house, guys.
Sorry I'm late, but I'm here.
Okay,
No
so
problem.
be on the lookout. My friend Saj is logging in. He's a Liverpool fan, so we should have some Liverpool representation very shortly.
Thank God.
My point is, listen, Liverpool lost 3 games last season. Man City lost 9 games. Are you seriously considering that swing? Because that's a massive swing.
It is, but that's why I said I think Liverpool
are going to be a little bit ropey, and Man City are going to become phenomenal. They won the league by 18 points.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
They foot off the pedal at the end. So for me, I still think Liverpool are going to be the team to beat. They're definitely going to struggle, much more difficult than winning it. But I got to see the other teams swing it the way you're pitching it, you guys. You guys who think City are going to swing it, all you got to do is look at Arsenal terrorising them last year in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Is that the Man City team that you really think are going to win the league next year?
I think that says more about Arteta than anything else, man.
Maybe.
And the thing is, like,
can happen.
Games in the league.
Yeah, they lost 9 games, man. You can't you guys. You can't win the title, and this is to you, Drew. You can't win the title if you lose in 9 games, bro.
I'm going to be honest.
Last year, I thought that was last season. Are we confusing the season? That was
last month.
The thing is, we're no longer going to be reliant on Fernandinho playing centre back. Although I'm not convinced on Aki, I will be honest. But I think he's a better solution at centre back than what Fernandinho is. If we get Kubi, then things are definitely a better trajectory. I don't get why we didn't go after Umtiti though from Barcelona. They were touting him about.
I think he's injury prone.
Can I just say, first of all, there's no good centre backs out there. We're living in a time where football's turned into athletes, and everyone wants to be a different type of player. There's no good centre backs out there. Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk is the only one closest to it. But even him, I still don't even think he's a great centre back. So when people are looking for, he's better than everyone else. But if you put him in a time, or if you watch him, now I put this to a few people and they've come back to me and said, okay, you was right. If you watch him, he doesn't engage. He runs away. So if you run towards him, he runs with you. He jockeys you. He doesn't really engage and make challenges. That's why you got the stats of he's never been dribbled past and everyone went crazy. Guess what? Lindelof hasn't been dribbled past, but Lindelof ain't great. We know he's not great. These stats are silly stats that fool you. They fool you. And there's not a lot of great centre-backs out there. Now, as I just joined in, someone mentioned that Manchester United's defence is woeful, even though they had the 3rd best defence in the league and they had the most clean sheets in the whole of Europe. Now, look at the defenders that they have. They had Maguire. This is my team as well. I'm not bigging them up. Maguire,
bro, you're here to big up your team. We want to hear it, bro.
I get that, but I'm going to be real with you. Maguire turns like a caravan. Yeah, you can run past him, you can nuts him, you can bend him. His strengths, which no one wants to talk about, is in the air is brilliant. We were 17th in the league for aerial dominance. He's turned that all the way around. Now we was last time I checked, we was third or second. Bringing the ball out of defence and laying the ball off. That's what the defending has changed. Now everyone wants a defender that can play football rather than actually defend.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about Trent Alexander. He's so good. He's the best right back. He cannot defend. What he can do. Put great deliveries into the box. All of a sudden, the best right back in the world. Football has changed. That's my only point I want to kind of make on what I've heard so far.
I'll say one thing, which I totally disagree with you on Van Dijk. I go back to the Beckenbauer days. Van Dijk is an excellent centre back. Maguire, I agree. Maguire doesn't defend well, but as you say, everyone wants a footballer. They just want a defender. Wan-Bissaka is a very good defender. Don't think he's an excellent footballer. And I agree on Alexander-Arnold. I watched him against Roma 2 years ago. He got totally destroyed. I don't think he's a good defender, but he's an excellent offensive player. But Van Dijk, I'm sorry. Yeah. There is a reason why Klopp bought Van Dijk and Alisson, because they rounded out his team. They built his team differently, which is his midfielder not the most skillful, except for Keita, but they all can defend. They all can position really well. They all can make a pass. And what you want is to make sure your stomach is well balanced and controlled. And you let the horses up front, the stallions, run wild.
So, guys, what do you think Silva will bring to Chelsea? And talking about defenders, because I think Thiago Silva is in that category as Van Dijk, I think.
Old legs, and he gets nervous in big games.
Yeah, I think he struggles on the overlap, and when he's going to see the pace of Man United, the pace of City. Also,
the roughness of the Premier League won't suit him.
He's been playing in France for what, like 7 years? So he's not going to be used to this kind of competition week in, week out. It's going to be his problem.
But he's great on the ball.
Such a good step.
He's great on the ball.
Different.
Sometimes you need to play with a football brain rather than the actual leg. Someone to direct the line. I think that's more where he comes in.
Yeah, but the Premier League is a very unforgiving league. You have to have legs. It doesn't give any allowance for a player who's not putting a shift because it's going to be very obvious.
You switch off for 1 second, man, and that's it. The ball's in the back of the net. You know, a guy like Vardy, who's not even rated in Europe, in the Premiership, he'll just terrorize the defense with his movement. And you know, guys like that who don't do well on the overlap. He's got great positioning. But there's so many, the movement on these teams that play the 1-2s inside the boxes right behind the back line. That's what scares defenses. And that's why, you know, look, Arsenal, we went out and got ourselves 2 young bookends who can both play the ball out of the back, who are tall, big, strong, 6'4", 6'3", the both of them. And they're well adapted, great movement, good pace, because the game's changing. So, you know, I think West Ham, with you, the new players you brought in, Ian, did you get a centre back?
What players? We haven't brought in a single player.
In.
I'd love to tell you we bought a player, mate. We have bought nobody.
You spent 14.5 million. Yeah, they spent 14.5 million. I've got
Souček was there already, and yeah, I mean Souček. Well, I mean he's a defensive midfielder. He's not a centre back, and he's obviously great at set pieces, as he proved coming back, and he's got a great goal scoring record, and he'll be great. But we've bought in nobody in this window at all. You're
showing ambition, aren't you? Aren't you going after a Burnley defender?
Oh, it's honestly, it's sickening. I mean, and of course, you know, one of our best younger players who had a great season in the Championship last year at West Brom, Dean Garner, supplies 3 assists to Haller in a pre-season game and promptly gets sold. It's just mind-boggling what's going on at the club at the moment. As I say, we're now pursuing Tarkowski, who doesn't want to come to us. And you think, well, we're just upping the price. And Burnley keeps saying no. Tarkowski says he don't want to come to London. And I don't know why we're even bothering to pursue it anymore. But yeah, I mean,
at least you've got David Moyes. That's on the bright side.
I think they've got Winston Reid coming back.
No, you're making an addition. You get rid of Wilshere. You're making an addition, I think.
Yeah,
no, Winston Reid's in the States now full time. It's going to be Ogbonna and Diop in the middle to start the season, with sort of Balbuena as sort of first reserve, and we are just we've got to basically score more goals than we're going to concede. That's the only chance we've got of scoring points. And obviously, we've got Newcastle this weekend, which is quite handy because I think that should be quite a high-scoring game. It's just going to be a question of who gets more. But then after that, we've just got an awful run. And if we're not bottom at Christmas, it'll be an absolute miracle.
Yeah, I think the good thing is you've got 20 million in player sales at the moment in the kitty in the bank.
But what can you get? What can you get though for that in this day and age? Not a lot.
Well, it's COVID, man. I mean, right now transfers are either too high or too low at the moment. I mean, I look at Arsenal. We're letting players go for free.
Yeah, you can buy a lot with 20 million in this market.
Yeah, we're letting players go for free, man. So listen,
sell Torreira.
Sorry, Tony, you didn't give me your prediction top 4, and then I've got to go to Cass.
So, as I said, I think the problem is people who are looking at Man City at winning the title, which some of you are not considering the turnaround of them losing 9 games and Liverpool only losing 3 last season. That's a massive turnaround. 18 points was the difference last season between them 2 teams. And I personally, I look at Man City and I think they're easily beatable. And they've not done anything to change things. You know, Nathan Ake makes no difference to them. So they're easily beatable. I can still see them losing, you know, at least to us. I've got us as a draw in our first game, but I can probably see it as a win in the second game. So I'm going to go back Liverpool again on a tight one. I think City have got enough to beat the rest of the chasing pack. I think Chelsea are the next team that are likely to be up there. And then it's a battle, really. Man United are doing really good things, but they're still, I think, 1 player short in the defence. Arsenal, I'm always optimistic about Arsenal. Spurs, they're done. They're finished. So it's really a case of, the Leicester, the Wolves, the Sheffield United, those teams there in that group that finished 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th last year. One of them could be the team in the 4th place. I'm hoping it's going to be Arsenal, so I'm going to pick Arsenal for the 4th. Yeah,
I mean, you just mentioned Spurs there, and Spurs have actually spent 58 million. Yeah, Spurs ain't messing around, bro. Spurs are out there spending money strengthening. So, Luke, what do you think about your activity in the market?
Apart from Joe Hart, I think it's been all right. That Joe Hart, I don't understand why we got Joe Hart. I do not understand.
Did you see expressions?
I know it's probably for the English quota, but I don't understand. What was all that about?
Joe, no.
If I was Gazzaniga now, I'd be going, what the hell? You know what I mean? I stepped in all last season, and then you get this joker coming in, 35 or whatever he is, with his bodybuilding muscles coming in like an idiot. No.
That was a Donald Trump buy. That was a Don King buy. That was.
I don't understand. I really don't understand it. I don't understand it.
I believe there's a few of my Spurs friends are under the belief that Spurs are getting Gareth Bale back, the Messiah.
Every year.
And Harry Kane thinks that you'll win the league.
Luke, you got a question there from Andrew. He's saying, who is Spurs stands out signing? I'd say it's probably Doherty.
No, yeah. I think the only problem I've got is will he be allowed to play like he did at Wolves under Mourinho?
He had 4 goals or something like that, didn't he?
No, but I mean,
you can forget that
Mourinho.
What about Højbjerg?
Mourinho. Would he be allowed to be that expansive going forward? As in, because he plays in the 3. Mourinho likes to. Mourinho doesn't play like he plays like with like a 4 or solid 4 sometimes. He's never played with the 3 centre backs and pushing them on as a wide player, like a 5 in midfield.
Yeah.
Last year, Aurier was playing a lot down that right wing, wasn't he? He had freedom to go at the left back holds back and the right back heads upfield, and that's what Doherty's going to be.
Doherty's a better crossover ball than Aurier. Aurier was liability.
Yeah. And Doherty's lethal in the box as well. If he gets in the box, I mean, I remember seeing a lot of the games last year. Aurier sort of hanging around on the edge of the box and sort of lacing these shots, in his opinion, towards the goal, but we're going more towards the corner flag. Doherty's got a better radar, I think, for the goal. So if he gets in similar positions to Aurier, I think you'll get a lot more production out of him.
So, Cass, shout out your top 4, and who do you think is going to win the title?
All right. So I caught up on the back end because I was a little bit late. I personally think Man City are going to be angry this year. Even when they spoke their players, I've listened to their interviews. They sound angry that they got smashed to pieces this year. And one thing we're forgetting, I know they bought Nathan Ake. I don't think that's a great buy, but it's a bit of backup, so forth. But they're going to have Laporte back. So Laporte's going to be back, which they missed for the whole season, and their defense just went straight down the pan. So I think they will be. The reason why I think, combined with everyone at the minute, is kind of on this Liverpool bandwagon. Everything about Liverpool is the best. All of a sudden, Henderson's the best footballer in the world. We know all these people are rubbish players. What happened with Liverpool is this. Klopp came in, he put in a system. His system is so good, it makes average players look very, very good. All of a sudden, Henderson is getting ratings, which I don't understand why, because he's still Henderson. I know he's doing a job, but he's not a great football player. But the system, it beats all. This is why, I'll go back to what I said before, this is why VVD looks so good. VVD, he wasn't born at Liverpool. He was at Southampton, he was at Celtic. We saw what he was like. He was a good defender, not a great defender. He's got into a system, whereas it fits, it works. Now he's a great defender because it's more the system than anything. I think personally last year, the reason why they smashed it so much is because everyone was so bad. I think it's the worst Premier League season I've ever seen in my life in terms of quality. Wow. I think Arsenal was crap. Man United was crap. Liverpool was good. Man City was a little bit off. I think Spurs was crap. I think everyone was so crap. And also on top of that, on top of Liverpool being so good, they won games that they should have drew. They drew games that they should have won. They got a lot of luck on top of being so good. They was the best team. I'm not taking that away from them. But I think they got a lot of things happened with it. Now, before COVID, before the lockdown, they fell off. They have not looked good since way before the lockdown. Before they lost to Watford, they had not looked good. They continued it after COVID. They continued it in the Community Shield when Arsenal just beat them. And I don't think Liverpool are what you think you're going to see again. I don't think they're going to have the same type of season. I do, however, think they're still good enough to fight for first, but I think they'll come second behind City. Next, in third place, I think Chelsea should be a massive problem with the talent they've got in their squad now. I just don't really rate Frank Lampard personally. I know he's English. I know he's the English golden boy. You got to say everything good about him in the media. But let's face it, he took Derby from 6th to 6th. He took Chelsea from 3rd to 4th. He lost to the 8th place Arsenal in the FA Cup. What's he done? What has he really done? So I think personally, if he actually performs this year as a manager, Chelsea will be 3rd. I think Manchester United will be 4th. If it all goes to plan how it's meant to go. I know, I've got loads of Arsenal friends. I'm from North London. You're wondering why I'm a Manchester United supporter.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
No surprise there.
My dad was, everyone. It's just been passed down to me, and I love them as a team and so forth. But my Arsenal friends, every season, it's been about 15 seasons that they said, we are going to win the league or we're going to come second. 15 seasons in a row, probably, I've been hearing this nonsense. They're not going to win anything. Arteta, he's done his thing. He's a blank canvas. You can't say he's rubbish. You can't say he's good. I like him as a person. I like what he's trying to do. He's not getting in the top 4. Forget about it. So it will be Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United. All you can do is jumble that order around, but that will be the top 4 for me.
I do have a stat, by the way, Cass, which everybody who watches this show knows about, which shows you in the 29 games that Arteta played, guess where his league position is in those 29 games? I know it's not over a full season, and I get that, but I just want you to let you know where I was coming from when I said Arsenal have a chance to get in the top 4. Arteta's got the 3rd best record in terms of points in the games he's managed in the league. And that's pretty. Look, let me just say this. You saw Klopp's face when they lost, yeah, to Arsenal 2-1, and you saw his face again, and the players on the sideline in the Charity Shield when they were like, why can't we beat this team? And Pep Guardiola, FA Cup semi-final, Frank, you've seen what Arteta's been able to do to these are big teams. In the old days, people used to say, who have they beaten? Who have they beaten? They might not, the players might be bang average.
Couldn't do it to Spurs at the Lane, though.
They couldn't do it down there, mate. They couldn't do it down there. They might be bang average, but the coach, Arteta, he's the difference, man. If they get some players if they get some players around them, could be dangerous. So listen.
Sorry,
finish off what I was going to say. I'm about to move on to the two new guys.
Oh, okay, no, I was saying I do like Arteta, but I was looking because I've got my own show which I'd love to get you on, by the way. But I was talking with my other hosts and so forth, and we was talking about Arteta's run. So the numbers was, if I remember correctly, he won 17 games and he lost. It was something like 17, but he lost something like 6 and drew 6. So there was 12 kind of bad results, 17 good results. So I don't know. I'm for me, the jury's still out.
Yeah, and we have to know that. Remember, this isn't really his team. I mean, he adopted a team that failed Ljungberg, failed Emery, failed Wenger. He wants them gone. He wants change. And one thing I was talking to guys about on Twitter today. I don't do Twitter, to be honest with you. And I got pulled into a big discussion on Twitter. And I said to them, guys, look, guys, Jurgen Klopp, 4 years to win the Champions League, 5 years to win the title. Pep, it took him 3-4 years to get himself sorted out. Arteta ain't even been there a year. He's been there 8 months. And he's going to need a hell of a lot more transfer windows to get the team transferred. And the Arsenal fans are in forums just going crazy. Oh, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we challenging for the guys? Calm down. Work in progress. Let's see. Shout out your team. First of all, who do you support? How long have you supported them? And give me your top 4 and title contenders.
Oh, bloody hell. That's a bit hard, isn't it? Yeah, it's Tony's the only one I know here. It's Saj here.
Saj.
Yeah, long time Liverpool fan. I'm like the brother from North London who sports Man U. I grew up in Oxford. I sport Liverpool, but the reason I sport Liverpool is because when I started primary school, Kevin Keegan was the #1 footballer in Europe. So I just followed Kevin Keegan, and then it went to John Barnes, and then it went to Stevie G. So I've always that's my Liverpool involvement, and I didn't support Oxford United because. Some of you may remember Robert Maxwell nicked all the pensioners' money, didn't he? So I'm not supporting them. So that's my 2 reasons. So I've got philosophical and just general reasons. Right. So I'm more of the type, as Tony will probably tell you, ask questions more than actual gives answers. But so you want my top 4, yeah?
Yeah, top 4.
Yeah, it's difficult to say because I heard some of the conversation you guys had, and the thing about it is, and Tony will know this. Sorry, I'm going to refer to Tony because he knows me in that. Liverpool, they burst away 25 points clear in that, but had they not had such a massive advantage, as Fergie used to say, it could have got really squeaky bum time towards. The sort of business end of the season if they hadn't got 25. So they kept that sort of like advantage, but there were moments in there like that Watford game, a few other times when it started getting a bit sort of like what they say, squeaky bum. But they came back well after the after the lockdown, and that was a good result against Crystal Palace. Revenge for Istanbul and all that. Top 4. Dare I say it? I can't really see Liverpool winning it again. I'll be honest with you. I think
it's a fair comment from a Liverpool fan.
I think City will come hard. I think Man U will do a lot better. I think with that, Rodriguez player. Is it Rodriguez you got?
James Rodriguez.
No. For Man U, who's that guy? You know, the new Fernandes, isn't it?
Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah. I think with Fernandes, and I think they are looking to get one or two more in. They could, you know, I think, you know, you were talking about Arsenal's back end of the season run. I think Manchester United, they were 19 games unbeaten, weren't they, towards the end of the season? Yeah. So they could come in strong.
Bruno
I'm struggling. Yes, yeah. And then obviously you had the sort of blip. The thing with you guys is that you had a little bit of a blip in the semi-finals, isn't it? You just need to get over that sort of like little hurdle, don't you? Because I actually thought you had pretty, dare I say, 2 winnable games in both semi-finals, and it just sort of like you maybe the sort of like effort that you put in to get those 19 on the trot maybe just might have tired you out a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
possibly.
we've got a first team, but no backup, so everyone's shattered.
And the thing about it is with Liverpool, I mean, you know, you guys were talking about Virgil van Dijk. Virgil's there, and I think Joe Gomez is quite good, but I still think he's a bit young yet. So
Gomez is a weak link.
But if Van Dijk is injured or is not playing, the backup defense isn't really there, I find. And of course, you were right about because the way Klopp plays, he has that sort of rock and roll football. So the 2 fullbacks, they burst on, don't they? So they're not really particularly defensive. So if Van Dijk's not there, they're a lot of their cogs out, isn't it? So we were quite lucky that way that we didn't really have any injuries in, you know, certain positions. Henderson never got injured. If Henderson in 2014, I think Liverpool should have won that. I think Liverpool lost it rather than Man City won it on that season. And I think if Henderson hadn't got injured, I think Liverpool might have done it. But
so you're going for City for the title?
I probably would say City, just about, yeah.
So I think you've made Drew's day. I think you've made his day just there.
Liverpool, I think
I can put my feet up and drink a cuppa now.
I'm hoping Liverpool get second. I can see Man U getting in the top 4. I can see Man U getting in the top 4. I can see Man U getting 4th. I think with the Fernandes there, and I think they're getting 1 or 2. I know what you say about Maguire in terms of, you know, he's not exactly sharp and, you know, quickish and whatnot, but he is quite a solid type of defender. If they can get someone, you know, a footballing defender alongside him, I mean, I'm not quite sure who plays alongside him at the moment. It's not Bissaka, is it? Bissaka's fullback, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So if they can get a footballing defender, you know, 1 or 2 pieces, I think Man U are sort of like back in that top 4. And then I'm not really sure who would be my. It's a bit of a toss-up at the moment because there's, you know, a few teams. Leicester, I think, were doing really well, and they just collapsed. So I think a lot of Man U's success in getting top 4 might be more to do with Leicester collapsing and Chelsea, both Man U and Chelsea. Leicester sort of falling back so badly. They fell very badly.
We knew they didn't have the squad to make it sustainable. And then teams like Wolves and Sheffield United came up from the Championship, and they finished 9th. So we can't really say anything bad about them. But a lot of the teams like Burnley, Everton started well, but they just don't have the squad. And you always knew with Leicester sitting in 3rd place, everybody was just waiting for the bubble to burst. Let's see. What about your top 4? Who's going to be? First of all, who do you support, and how did that happen? And
yes, sorry, my mic was on mute. So can you guys hear me now?
Yeah. We can hear.
That's cool. All right, so I'm another Liverpool fan. Been a supporter since I was 7. Not going to say how old I am now because some of you guys know how old I am now.
We went to
not going to say
together,
anymore.
bro. We
You
don't
need to rub it in. It's all right. Yeah. So for me, top 4. As much as I hate saying this, City will do it this season.
Oh right,
City are the team that are going to do it. I hate saying it, but the bottom line is City have got the biggest and strongest squad, and no matter who goes injured, they put another person in that place. They play just as well.
Team,
exactly. The only issue that City had last season was they were very unlucky in some of those games that they lost. Because I mean, if you look at when you look at their style of play and how they play, apart from Liverpool last season, City were the most consistent. And if you look at the season before, Liverpool should have won it. Liverpool threw it away. There was that 3-game spat where they lost. No, sorry, they drew 3 games in a row.
They drew 7 games. That's 21 points, isn't it? That's 21 points.
Yeah, but there was a time when they were 7 or 9 points ahead of City.
Yeah, they were.
And they drew 3 games in a row, and City did not lose any of those games, and they won it, and they won it by 1 point. So for me, the season before last season, Liverpool handed it through their mistakes and their draws. For me, season after season after season, apart from the season just gone, the reason why I don't think Liverpool have done as well as they should do, considering where they're coming from, their history, all that sort of stuff, is that they draw too many games. It's that, when you look at the top 4, which was normally at the time it was City, United, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Arsenal were close, Tottenham were close, but when you looked at that top 4, top 6 tier, and you looked at who won the most games against each other, Liverpool were normally near the top. But it was the other games, the games against like the Stokes, the West Broms, the Crystal Palace, is where they threw it away every season. And with that, some of those seasons, I mean, at one time they were a top 7 team, not even a top 14.
They weren't even a top 7 for some seasons.
Well, no. I mean, I think the
couple of seasons.
7 was the worst position that I remember them finishing in. And since Klopp has come in, he's actually he's got a formula where, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think that, as much as I want to see Liverpool win it, I didn't think that they would win it under Klopp, and that's purely because you're going to hate me for saying this, but I think a lot of those players are mediocre players. Yeah, they're mediocre players. It sounds kind of bad, but I'm a Liverpool fan, and I don't see what people are saying about Henderson.
I think that's your weakness. I think the midfield, if you look at your front 3, it's as good as any in the league.
Yeah, but
if you look at the defence, you've got the best centre back in the league. Goalkeepers,
top keeper as well. But the issue with Liverpool is that this is my personal view and how I see what Klopp's done with the team. He's bought 3 very good, or I wouldn't say they're good or very good midfielders, and he's put them up front because none of them were forwards or strikers until they came to Liverpool, and he's put them up front, and that's worked. But then what he's done is he hasn't had, whereas he had Coutinho before Coutinho left. Coutinho was one of the few midfielders in the league that could pick players out. He was good at crossing. He's good at free kicks. He's good at picking players out. He was more like he was a maestro in my books, and that's the type of player. So a player like him or KDB is what Liverpool need in the midfield to control that. Because what you've got is, if you look at the way Liverpool play, they're great at attacking and great at defending together. The issue is the midfield doesn't do enough in my books.
Yeah, I think that's the Achilles heel.
And if you look at when Salah, Firmino stays, he's the one who stays more up front than the other 2 players. But when you look at Salah and Mane, when they take that ball, they're taking it from midfield. So they're doing a midfield job as well as a winger's job as well, which kind of affects how they score goals and the amount of goals they score, because there's a lot of games that they've played that they haven't scored many goals between them. I know throughout the whole season they've done pretty well, but when you look at when Salah was missing, I don't know how many chances he had compared to how many he actually scored, but he was missing too many. He was too greedy. He wasn't passing the ball when there was somebody else like Mane or Firmino who's in a better position to score. And that's what Liverpool down as well. It's the midfield.
Yeah, that's the weakness.
Guys, I totally disagree with that. You guys played Bayern away and run over Bayern 2 years ago. Bayern has one of the best midfield in Europe. I think that the hardest persons on their team are supporters, like Arsenal fans about Arsenal players. Because your midfield is not fancy or not dribbling all over the place. They fit a system that works for Klopp. Klopp buy players who fit into the system. Henderson, Ronaldo, Fabinho, Keita can't get into your midfield. because of how your midfield is constructed. Keita is good on the ball. He was great in Germany. You paid about 60 million for him. He can't get that midfield. I think we're misconstruing or having a perspective as to, in contemporary football, what a good midfielder looks like. You play pressing football. You have to run all day. You have to be able to make a pass. You have to defend. They do all that really well. And if you win the Champions League with that midfield, how can one say it's not a good midfield? I'm flabbergasted.
Me personally, I look at those midfielders who either, to me, I think they're just mediocre. They're not great. And I'm a Liverpool fan.
You weren't scoring a ton of goals. You weren't scoring a ton of goals when you win the Champions League. Now you're scoring 5 and 6, nothing, and you're losing.
Yes, but I'd love to see players like KDB, someone like KDB, or so. Liverpool are only missing like one decent midfielder, and that's someone like Coutinho or someone like KDB who can control and master that, which gives Mane, Salah, and Firmino more opportunities on the ball, because those guys are picking up the ball. They're picking up the ball from midfield. They're picking up the ball from defensive opportunities. When Liverpool break, sometimes, even though they're very quick on the break, sometimes by their standards, they're pretty slow because the front three players are in midfield or they're running from defensive positions. Yeah?
I will take your midfield tomorrow. Please give me your midfield. Please give me your midfield.
You can take the midfield. You can take the midfield because I can think of a few players that I think would do better.
You won the Champions League. You won the Premier League year after back to back, well, and you're saying your core is too weak.
It's too weak. It's too weak. Listen. I've been a fan for many years. No. I definitely don't want Arsenal.
You want Arsenal's midfield?
The midfield I would like to see, or the type of players I'd like to see, is the midfield that City have. City have very good midfielders.
This is true.
Yeah, they have midfielders. Yeah, and the thing with
are way better than Liverpool.
Exactly. And when you look at those,
I think Bertram's right. I think system-wise, Klopp has what he wants to work that system.
Yeah, and that's what Man U used to do as well. They had this. The players may not have been exactly the greatest. Then he developed from the squad, and then he played those players according to the system. You know, like Scholes, and brought the young lads in. I can understand what the brother's saying to an extent. Yeah. But
the thing is, Liverpool have won those titles, but it's not just about winning; it's about maintaining and keeping that winning streak going. You're talking about defending those titles, so going back in and actually winning it again for a second season in a row. That's one of the hardest things to do. And if you look at the other teams around them, they're all improving. Yeah, in this transfer window, Liverpool's only brought in one defender, one left back.
Yeah, but don't forget, Man City themselves have not been able to do a back-to-back. So that tells you all you need to know.
We have got one back-to-back, but
they have got a back-to-back just a couple of years ago.
This is the thing, though, with City right now. So we say I could say with strength of Ake, if we have Laporte go down, though, we're more screwed than what Liverpool are with the quality of their midfield. But Liverpool actually have a midfielder I'd take in an instant, and that is Keita.
Yeah,
I would happily swap him for Gundogan.
How I look at it, I look at Liverpool's midfield players, and the question I ask myself is: okay, if I was an opposition, City, Arsenal, Tottenham, whoever, who would I take that would go straight into my first 11? And when you look across that midfield, Keita's probably the only one.
Yeah,
I still don't understand and see what people are saying about Henderson. When he first came to Liverpool, I thought, this is a youth he might do well, but I can't see him doing that well. And it wasn't until Stevie left that, and the responsibility was put onto him, that he's kind of come into the limelight. But he has, from like a skill point of view, he's mediocre. He's not great. The only good thing I give him and Van Dijk, is that they're good at shouting at people and making sure they stay in their positions and do what they need to do. So from a command point of view and a respect point of view, I understand that. But from a skill point of view, I can't see him going straight away into any other midfield of the top 4, top 6 teams. I can't see it happening.
Okay, guys.
It's very difficult to hide in the Premier League.
Okay, guys, let's do.
If you play slowly, you can't hide in the Premier League, and I disagree that Liverpool doesn't have a good midfield. They may not be exceptionally skilled footballers, but the system worked and the players fit the system.
Okay, guys, let's do a quick fire round now of the predictions for the weekend before we wrap it up. And just want to go around to everybody so we can do quick fire rounds. Fulham versus Arsenal. Ian, who's going to win that one?
Arsenal.
Yeah,
No question.
Score prediction on that one?
I think it might be 2-0, and I think Aubameyang might get them both. At least that's what I'm hoping, because he's my fantasy captain this week.
Yeah, fantasy is going to be a stickler. Actually, next Friday, I'm going to talk about fantasy. That's going to be fun. Everybody got it wrong. I've got Martinez in goal, so there you go with that one. Yeah, I've gone for 3-0 Arsenal as well. Drew, what's your pick on Fulham Arsenal?
It's going to be an Arsenal win, and I'm going to be honest. It's how many. Fulham, they've had competitive football more recently, but my God, they're not a good team. They're just not. They got promoted more by luck. I mean, they got promoted because other teams are falling away and because Brentford had a shocker at one point. I think Arsenal by 4.
4-0 Arsenal. Bertrand, what did you say? Was it 3-0 as well or 3-1?
3-1. I think we'll leak a goal.
Tony?
Yeah, I had 3-1 as well.
Ebony?
3-1.
Let's see.
We're going to concede.
2-1. I think 2-1. I think Arsenal.
Yeah, I thought 2-1 as well. That was my first hunch. 2-1. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a bit closer. The only reason why I said it is because Fulham and the other teams that have come up, they're all gonna try to prove they've got something to prove, so they'll play out their socks. I'm not saying that they'll win, because I don't think that they'll win, but I think it will be a lot closer, and Fulham will go for it. They will go for the win.
Right, next one, Crystal Palace Southampton. I think it's going to be Palace 0, Southampton 2. Ian?
2-1 Southampton.
Excellent, because my man Danny Ings is on there, man. He's got the team going right now.
He's in my lineup as well, mate.
Mine too.
But I think left Liverpool. He scored 20-odd goals. Bloody hell.
Palace have got more chance of banging in a few goals this year just by dint of who they've signed. I think having got Batshuayi in, and obviously, but I don't think Eze's playing tomorrow, so it may take him a couple of games to gel. So I'm going 2-1 Southampton.
I'm going 2-0 Southampton. Drew, who are you going for there?
Again, I'm going Southampton because, again, I got Danny Ings. So.
Everybody's got Danny Ings in their team. Bertrand.
It's good.
I'm going 2-2. I think Palace plays very good defense. I'm surprised Izzy's not playing, because I rate him quite a bit. And I think, is Batshuayi playing tomorrow?
Should be.
Early.
Should be, yeah.
But now they have a centre forward because they had none for a while. I say 2-2.
Excellent. I can see the guys in the chat there putting their numbers up as well. Andrew's saying it's going to be 2-1 as well, and so is Style and Andrew both agreeing on there, which is what we're saying.
2-1,
Tony, who are you going for on that one?
I feel sorry for Palace. Palace are my second London team, so I'm gonna go 1-0 to Palace. Come on,
Excellent.
Ooh.
Ebony.
Crystal Palace tend to play rubbish at home, and they have done last season. So I'm going to go 2-1 Southampton.
Excellent. Let's see. Who are you going for?
I'm actually going for the draw, 1-1.
Excellent. What about you, Sarge?
I think 2-1 Southampton. I think Palace will get a goal, but they look to be playing a bit poorly the back end of the season. So it depends if they carry that sort of form, how whether they fire on all cylinders or they carry on what their form from the back end of last season. 2-1 Southampton, yeah.
Excellent. So my surprise, I'm going 1-1 Leeds. Leeds are going to be my surprise choice of the season. Yeah. Listen, okay. Leeds are the real deal. Don't mess around with Leeds right now, man. And they're spending money to strengthen as well. Ian, where are you going for on this one?
Do you know what? I'm sort of leaning with you. The fact that Leeds, I think, are going to cause a big surprise to Liverpool. But I think Liverpool, it's going to be 0-0, 5 minutes to go. Salah or Mane is going to pop up and get the winner. But it's going to be a tight one. It's going to be 1-0. Liverpool are going to be sweating, but they will get the 3 points at the very end of the day.
Yeah.
Excellent. Drew, who are you going for in this one?
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with Ian on this. It's not going to be easy. Liverpool, they're going to make everyone wait, but they'll win the game late. I shouldn't say that. I got a mate whose cousin plays for Leeds, so I'm like, oh yeah, saying to him at work, yeah, no, it's going to be fine. Yeah, no, Liverpool will win, but it's not going to be easy.
And by the way, I missed the Southampton for Kez. Kez was saying Southampton's going to lose 2-1. And so did Vincey. Vincey said Palace is going to win 3-2. Also, Kez is saying that Leeds is going to lose 2-1. And so is Vincey. Says he's going to lose 2-1. And so is Style. Crazy. Andrew did want to say something. Quick interacting fact. Arsenal lost 3 games in 2007-2008. Drew 11, which cost them the title. Lost by 4 points behind Man United. 2 points. Oh yeah. That hurt, man. That hurt. We lost in the final against Chelsea as well. Theo Walcott got his debut goal there. Bertram, who's going to take this one? Liverpool Leeds.
I like Leeds, and I'm glad they're back in the Premier League. But Liverpool's are big boys, and everyone is doubting them because they look poor in preseason. Played difficult against Salzburg, lost to us. They're ready for the season. It's the real time. They'll win 3-1.
Tony.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I hate these two teams nearly as much as I hate Spurs. if I had to put 3 teams to get blown up, it would be Spurs, Liverpool, and Leeds. But I think Liverpool will win this 2-0.
Ebony.
Leeds, 16 years since they've been in the Prem. They're gonna lose 1-0. I think it'll be tight, very tight.
Let's see.
It's going to be a close game. I think Leeds will score. Liverpool have this thing about dropping goals to teams like that. It'll be 2-1 to Liverpool.
And Sarge?
Yeah, I think 1-0 to Liverpool. It's going to be a tight match. I think Leeds will give a lot, but I think Liverpool might just sneak that.
Excellent.
I just see them sneaking it.
Next one, West Ham versus Newcastle. I'm going for West Ham 1-0 home win here. Red Max, Ian, how's your team going to get on in this matchup?
There is no way this game is going to finish 1-0, mate. I'm sorry. Both defenses are toilet. Dubravka is injured. West Ham can't stop anything. This one is going to be 2-2 at a minimum. It's West Ham's only chance to get a point before we play Fulham in game week 8. So we are going for it. We're going for it. Defensively, both teams are inept. 2-2, could be 3-3. It's Goal Fest. It's going to be well worth watching. It's on Sky tomorrow night. It's going to be a good one to watch. It's not going to be boring.
I'm going to be checking that one out, man. I want to see where my 1-0 is going to go. I need him to get a clean sheet, man. I got a couple of defense. I saw a nice little cheap deal going, and I thought I'd grab it, man. We've got Vincey saying it's going to be 3-2 to Newcastle. Styles saying it's going to be 2-2. Everyone's following Ian's advice. Andrew said it's going to be 2-1 to Newcastle. Drew, what's going to happen with West Ham and Newcastle?
There's a reason that no one selected any defenders from either team.
Because they're both crap.
I selected Callum Wilson from the team, but this could be any score, but it will be a draw. But it could be 5, it could be 4. It honestly, neither team can actually defend for Toffee. So I'm just going to say 3-3. 3-3.
All right, so 3-3. So we've got some scores coming in again. Kes is saying it's going to be 2-1 again to Newcastle. Kuke saying it's going to be 4-2 to West Ham. Wow. Big time score there. Tony, Tony.
Bertram, innit?
I thought Bertram, did you go?
No, I haven't gone yet. I think say maximum Almiron and Wilson are too much for West Ham, and West Ham can't defend. So I say 3-2 to Newcastle.
Excellent, Tony.
Yeah, I think exactly the same way that Bertram does. I think Newcastle up front have got some real dangerous players. Yeah. I'm gonna go 3-2 to Newcastle.
Yeah, problem is they haven't got Rob Holding in defence. That's the problem there. We've got Sad who's going for 2-2 draw as well. Ebony, where are you going for in this one?
Well, my 75-year-old mum can defend better than West Ham. So So West Ham can't defend for love nor money. Neither can Newcastle. But I can actually see West Ham losing. They just cannot defend. They've got enough firepower up front. I'm going to say they'll lose 2-0.
Excellent. Let's see where you're going for in this one.
I'm going to go for Newcastle. Newcastle have brought a couple of players in. They can be dangerous if they play well. I agree with you guys. Neither of team have that great a defence. I think it'll be a high score, actually. It's going to be at least 3-2 to Newcastle. That's
excellent.
At least.
And Sarge, where are you going for in this one?
Yeah, I've got that hunch on the Newcastle 2-1. I think Newcastle got a dodgy defence, but I think their goalkeeper's all right. From what I saw him, I could be wrong. I might be looking at it wrong, but their goalkeeper looks okay. Newcastle's.
Yeah, I think, guys, I think
goalkeeper looks all right. I could be wrong. Their defense is crap, but the goalkeeper looks all right.
You know, Sky has been shown a lot of repeats. Yeah, you might be watching one of the old players like Shea Given.
Shaka Hislop. I've been looking at Shaka Hislop. Their current goalkeeper's white, and I've been looking at Shaka.
Dubravka's injured though. He's out. Dubravka's out.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, because I like to look at it. Oh, well, yeah, but I think Newcastle 2-1. Yeah.
I think it's going to be tough bet, but look, even though the West Ham captains are unhappy with the owners, they always seem to find a way, don't they? They never get relegated. I tipped them to come. Where did I tip West Ham to come? I think I tipped them to finish 13th. They always find a way. I think they're going to be 12th or 13th. I think they're going to find their rhythm and sort out that stability. West Brom and Leicester, I think this is going to be a stickler. I think it's going to be 2-0 2-0 Leicester. Ian, where are you going for on this one?
I tell you what, on your prediction on West Ham, I'll take 17th at the moment. I'll happily, if someone offered 17th right now, I would grab it with both hands. West Brom, Leicester. This is going to all depend on which Leicester turns up, whether it's the Leicester of earlier part of last season or whether it's the Leicester post-lockdown. I've got a feeling they're just going to be too strong for West Brom. I think Jamie Vardy is going to start the season on a high. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Leicester City.
Excellent. Drew, where are you going for on this one?
I'm going exactly the same way. I think Leicester have overall got just too much to West Brom. So, yeah, they just got too much. 2-0, 2-1.
Yeah, Vince has gone for
2-1.
Vince has gone for 3-1 Leicester. Bertrand, where are you going for on this one?
I think people are too hard on Leicester. They had 3 of their 4 defenders out for a lot of the second part of the season.
Yeah.
So that says a lot about the team, and they were still doing okay. So I'll say Leicester 2-0. I think West Brom is preparing to go back to the Championship. They're just visiting. So I think it's 2-0.
So Styler's gone for 3-0 Leicester, and Suter's gone for 1-1. He's gone for a draw. Andrew's gone for 3-1 Leicester. Tony, where are you going for on this one?
Yeah, I think the last comment just summed it up. West Brom just really just hanging in there. So I'm going 2-1 Leicester.
Excellent. Ebony, where are you going for on this one?
You know what? I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think we'll be surprised, personally.
Yeah, because you don't know what Leicester, as Ian said, you don't know which Leicester's going to turn up.
I think Leicester rely too much on Vardy. And if Vardy doesn't turn up, Leicester doesn't turn up. So I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah, and let's see, where are you going with this one?
I reckon 2-1 Leicester. West Brom, another team coming up. Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to do that great. But the first game, Premier League eyes on them. They're going to have a few points that they're going to want to prove. So I think they're going to play pretty well tomorrow. But overall, I think Leicester will turn them.
Excellent. And Sarge, where are you going for on this one?
Yeah, I think 2-0 Leicester seems.
Yeah, that's what I've got for. They look too strong. It's a shame that Luke isn't here because his team's up. Spurs, Everton. Ooh, I'm gonna. Yeah, this is gonna be a hot one, baby. This is gonna be a hot one. I'm going for 2-2. Ian, where are you going for on this? I think it's gonna be a 2-2 draw.
hardest one to call of all the games this weekend. It could go either way. I like who Everton have brought in, but I think it's just going to take a little time for those guys to bed in, whereas Spurs have got to know each other a little bit longer. Depends who scores first, but I think it could be a 1-1 draw.
Hey, Drew, who are you going through on this one?
I actually want to say Everton, but I think Spurs are going to win 1-0.
Yeah.
But in 2 months' time, I think Everton would beat them.
Yeah.
Do you remember last season when what happened last season? Spurs, was it this game that Spurs was actually losing, and then in the last second that they turned it around?
Wasn't this game the most boring game of the season? Wasn't it? The one, it was about 2 or 3 games before the end of the season, wasn't it?
Oh,
it was
that one! Oh God, yeah.
The dullest game ever, I think.
That was like watching England International. That's why people keep asking me, Apollo, why don't you watch England International games? I'm like, bro, the only time I'm going to watch England is when they're playing the Euros or the World Cup. I ain't sitting through that shit. No, listen, I'll switch on my Xbox. I'll watch my movies. I'll watch my TV shows when the England game's on. I see everybody texting me saying, Apollo, they just scored. Yeah, you know what? Just fill me in after the game, man. Let me know what's going on. I ain't not seeing through that. Who's gonna take this one, bro? Yeah, Drew.
Oh, yeah, sorry, man. Went blank. It's going to be 1-0 Tottenham. 1-0 Tottenham.
Excellent. Cool K's going for 3-2 Everton. That would be nice. Ashek's going for 2-0 Everton. That would be nice
as well.
Hey, always a blessing if Arsenal could win and Spurs, and hey man, always a blessing. Lukey probably would have gone for a 1 or 2-0 win though. Because listen, say what you want about Spurs, but Song is just a beast. I actually think Song is their best player. And then Harry Kane. Yeah, I listen. That Song is the real deal. Who's next? Bertram.
So it all depends on the new signings. I think Everton has the 3rd best midfield in the Premier League when they all get together, but it's a little bit early. I think Marino is very defensive, especially in the first half of the season. So I think Spurs will win 2-1. Everton defense still has holes in it. Even though if all their midfielders play, and I rate their midfield actually, they'll do well this season.
Yeah, Mr. Arsenal's gone for 2-1 Everton as well. Tony, throw up your numbers, man, for Spurs Everton. His mic is.
Hope that Spurs lose, so I'm never gonna ever want Spurs to win a game. Come on, the Everton, come on, the Toffees. 2-0 Everton. 2-0
Everton. That would be nice. Ebony.
I'm hoping Spurs lose. I'm hoping that they've got injuries. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
Excellent. 2-1.
It's standard. 2-1.
Standard. Let's see.
To be honest, looking at the two sides, the disadvantages that Spurs have is they've got Mourinho. I call it the Maureen effect because I call him Maureen. I reckon Everton will do it 2-1. Everton will do it 2-1. They've brought some nice players in. I'm not sure if they're ready. They're going to gel that great at the beginning of the season, but as the season goes on, they'll get stronger and stronger. They're one of the teams to watch this season. Definitely.
Excellent. So we've got Kez is saying 3-2 Everton. Big love from the Arsenal faithful right there. Sarge, who are you going for on this one?
Yeah, if the game had been later on in the season, I'd have probably had Everton. But I think first game of the season and, Mourinho being very defensive in that, I can see Spurs getting a 1-0.
Excellent.
Yeah, it depends what part of the season it is on. But I think as a start off, I think Spurs just nick it.
So you guys want to know what the hardest match in the first week to call is? It ain't Spurs Everton. It's this one. Sheffield United versus Wolves. That is going to be a defensive battle. That is. Ian, I'm going to let you go first on this one because I still ain't made up my mind on this. It's going to be an absolute
teams. Two very cagey teams that don't give a lot away, especially the fact it's the first game of the season. Neither of them are going to want to lose. I'm going to go with the guys that tend to score in the last 5 minutes. They have a happy knack of popping up in the last 5 minutes, especially Mr. Jimenez. I think Wolves could just sneak this one, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's a 0-0 or even if it goes 1-0 the other way. But if I had to put my head on it, I'm going to go Wolves 1, Sheffield United nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 because Sheffield United's at home. If this was the other way round, I would have gone with you as well. And I definitely think it's going to be Jimenez that's going to get on the sheet. But
yeah, I think Sheffield United are so light up top. That's the problem. I'm looking for them to try and get this young guy Brewster on loan from Liverpool or something like that to try and give them something up top. They really haven't reinforced at their weakest position, and I think they're going to struggle again this year to score goals. They'll be solid at the back, and Ramsdale he's not Henderson, but he's not a bad replacement. So they're going to be solid again at the back, but I think they're going to really struggle to score. And I think they're going to slip down the table a little bit this year because I think they're going to have been found out a little bit. They played extremely well last year, but now teams are going to know how to play them. It wouldn't surprise me to see Sheffield United hanging around sort of 13th, 14th by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew's gone for 1-1. What's going on, G? Mr. Arsenal's gone for 0-0. Styles gone for 0-0. I think there's me saying it's going to be one of the game of the weeks, and it looks like it's going to be a sleeper. Everyone going to be falling asleep with T next to them. Wolves, Dino's gone for Wolves. Kez has gone for a 2-2 draw. Let's have a look. He's gone for a 2-0 win, actually. And so has said, so he's gone for a 2-0. Oh, 2-0 Sheffield win. That would be interesting. That would be interesting if they was to pull that off. For me, Chris Wilder has got his team just playing the flute. It's going to be hard to top last season. What he did coming up into the Big Boys League, finishing 9th, that's going to be tough to top. Let's see what they do in the transfer market as well. Drew, where does this one end up?
I think Wolves win it, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be 1-0. I just think with Jimenez, with Traoré, there's too much quality in the Wolves team overall. But it's going to be in the last 5 minutes they nick it again. I don't see them. They're not going to be able to pull away from Sheffield United. They're too well organised a team to just walk over.
I mean, Santos got that 36 million wonder kid, Fabio Silva.
Yeah,
that's going to make a massive difference. This team is good anyway, but to bring in a guy like that,
he's one of the more exciting players in Europe as well. To be fair to him, so I think the fact they've brought him in under 40 million. That's good business.
Yeah, that's big boy. So, that's big boy right there. Bertram, where are you going with this one?
So I see we are underestimating Wolves and overestimating Sheffield. Sheffield overachieved last year. They're not that good. Wolves have Jota, Jimenez, Traoré, a bunch of players who are gelling better together. Last year was sort of 11 first year together. They're going to be better this season. I expect them to beat Sheffield 3-1.
3-1. Listen, remember what I said to you last week when we knocked Sheffield out the FA Cup quarterfinals? Sheffield after that went on their tear. They ripped up Spurs, ripped up Everton. They was just knocking everybody sideways. And look, I really believe in them. I think they're the real deal. They're no Brighton. These guys are. Look, I think we can all agree what they did last year was fantastic. But they've got a model and a system that works for the players. And as I said, Chris Wilder, underrated manager. Let's see. It's going to be one of the most interesting things to see where they go this season. Tony, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, got to fancy Wolves. They've just got so much strength in the midfield. And, you know, they share the goals. They share the goals amongst their midfield and strikers. So they're going to find a way to find a player, which they always do. So 2-1, I reckon, for Wolves.
Excellent. Ebony?
Wolves are very great. They're quite good defensively. I think this will be a ball draw. I think both teams will cancel each other out. I think Wolves are slightly better, actually much better in defence than Wolves. But I think I can see this being a ball draw, and I can see both teams cancelling each other out.
So let's see. This is Wolves' Achilles' heel, isn't it? Because if I go on the fact that Wolves has got the best record in the last 2 seasons against the top 6 sides, their problem was not picking up enough points from teams like Sheffield United. Where are you going to see this one?
To be honest, I think this is probably going to be the game of the day. To be honest, I can see there's so much talent on there that give them a couple seasons, they won't be at those players like Traore, Jimenez. They won't be at those teams. They'll get snapped up by the bigger teams. I reckon it's gonna be Wolves. Wolves is gonna do it. They'll do it 2-1. It'll be a very good game. Very good game.
Yeah, and as Kez alluded to the point that I just made, they beat Chelsea as well. They just was knocking everybody. And the thing, what made me laugh about that FA Cup game when we beat them was everybody was saying, it's only Sheffield United. I was like, hold on a second. Sheffield United beat us in the league 1-0.
Sheffield United, they kind of, I agree, they kind of overachieved when you look at what their expectancy was, where they thought they were going to end up. And they ended up quite a bit higher than that. They opened a few eyes because a lot of people rooting on it about Sheffield United. But then you've also got to look at Wolves as well. Wolves, Traore, man, what a player! I'd love to see him at Liverpool. To be honest,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
what a player!
Where would he fit in though? Because
you can't have all the best players.
Yeah.
You have Mane and Salah. Who else do you need on those wings?
Listen. Traore is a tank. Yeah.
I was promoting Traore 3 years ago. He came from Barcelona to Villa in the first place, and then when Wolves bought him, I thought we should have bought him.
Yeah. He's the man's a tank. He's a tank
because he already had. He just didn't make good decisions. He already have all the attributes you need.
Listen, when we played them, he bullied our midfield and defense. He just run through them like we had to have two players on him, and we couldn't. We found it hard to stop him. The man.
Listen, we had made them miles. So
I was just about to say, yeah. We had our surface-to-air missile on him, and that did the job. That did the job, man. We had the Terminator on him, and that's just
because he had a bad day that game. He had a bad day.
No. We made him have a bad day, man. We made him have a bad day. Sarge, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I mean, my thinking was like it'd be a tight game, and towards the end, I can see sort of Wolves putting on a bit of pressure, and a lot of it depends on how Traore plays. If he can get sort of at him and running at the United defence towards the back end of the game, I can see them either winning 1-0 or even 2-0 at the end. Getting another just two quick fire goals towards the end. So either 1-0 or 2-0. I know it's a bit double choice, but 1-0 or 2-0.
Right, we got our last one. We got our last one, guys. Before we close down the show, so we've got Brighton, Chelsea. I think this is going to be a whitewash. I think it's going to be 3-0 Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to put on a show. I think Brighton have always had a problem scoring goals unless they play Arsenal. But I think that Chelsea's it could be 4. I'm going for 4-0 here, Chelsea. Ian, where are you going with this one?
Right, this is going to be your shocker of the week. All right, Brighton are very organised and they're tough to beat at home, and they are at home in this one. Don't forget, Chelsea have got all their lovely new flashy toys up top. They're not all fit. Ziyech isn't going to be playing. Pulisic is probably going to start on the bench, I would imagine. So they're not going to be at full strength. They haven't played together yet. All these, the shiny new toys. I've got a sneaky feeling this one is going to be 1-1.
Oh, you do sell a good one, Ian. You do sell a good one.
Yeah, Chelsea. Give Chelsea a couple of weeks. I mean, I have none in my fantasy team. They're coming in week 3. That's the plan. But at the moment, I just think a week 1 surprise. Brighton are going to be the ones to pull it off.
Yeah, I think that definitely sounds like you've got me thinking. That's for sure. I mean, well, they picked up
and don't forget. I mean, Chelsea have still got Kepa in goal. I mean, they've really added not too much at the back as well. Brighton are going to be fairly solid at the back. They've got Ben White back, who spent the season last year.
Ben White returned. Lewis Dunk has signed a new deal.
Leeds were throwing money at Brighton to try and get Ben White back, and Brighton went, no, we're keeping him. I think Brighton are going to be a lot more solid than people are expecting.
Yeah, they got Adam Lallana as well, and listen,
this is the year Leandro Trossard really starts waking up the rest of the league. I think if Potter doesn't try and do a mini Pep and rotate as much as he as he has been doing, if he gives Trossard a chance to start and really sort of bed himself in there, I think Trossard is going to be the guy that everyone's talking about come the end of the year.
Yeah, I think I could definitely see something happening there. What are the guys saying in the chat? We've got Style saying it's going to be 4-1 to Chelsea. Vincey's saying it's going to be 2-2. Andrew's saying 4-0. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, Ashek's got a question here. Sorry, off topic. Do you guys have a... Yes, we do. It's on the forum, mate. I'll put it on again after we finish the stream. I'll put the... I think actually it's in the administration parts at the top. If you go to the top of the page where it's got the announcements, I think it's in there. I'll double check. If it's not there, I will put it there. Kuke's gone 1-1. Wow. Drew, where do you see Brighton Chelsea?
So I've got quite a lot of Chelsea players in my Sun Dream Team and my Premier League Dream Team. I think Timo Werner's a beast. I think he's got a massive say on how Chelsea do this season. Yep. I'm going to pick Chelsea to win 3-1.
Yeah, how do you think he'll get on in the Premier League with all the defenders and everything?
This is the thing. He's not the biggest lad. He's not, but he's physical for not the tallest player. But he's very strong.
He's a bit of a Higuain.
Yeah, or even a slightly less mobile version of Jesus at City, but he's a lot more talented.
Excellent. Bertrand, where are you seeing this one going?
I think 2-1 to Chelsea. I saw them play Brighton in pre-season. Brighton will improve this season, actually. I think Chelsea has to. I think people are forgetting that Chelsea had firepower before they bought Havertz and Ziyech and all those people. We act like Chelsea didn't make top four with all the new shiny toys. The toys only make them better. And people like Pulisic have been injured all year. I'm not sure he's going to play tomorrow, but I expect them to do really well this season. I expect them to win this game 2-1.
Yeah, for me, Chelsea's got the same weakness as Man United, and that is their manager. Tony, where are you going with this one?
I think there's huge pressure on Frank Lampard because he has these riches at his disposal. You know, don't forget he's got players like Callum Hudson-Odoi earning like 200 grand a week. So the pressure, I mean, his array of strikers is phenomenal. You know, Giroud is still there. Tammy Abraham. You know, all these players are going to be fighting for places. So I expect a really resilient Chelsea this year. You know, I think they'll work the defensive problems out, but I think there'll be such a threat up front that it will negate some of their weaknesses at the back. So this game, I see it being 3-0.
Yeah,
I got that.
I think Arsenal is still better than Chelsea up front. I think the front four, I think what Chelsea have gained, I can't see. You know, when I look at Aubameyang, Pepe, Willian, I don't see Chelsea being in the same league as Arsenal. But it's their midfield. It's Chelsea's midfield where they start.
I would tend to disagree with you because I think Aubameyang is probably the best of the bunch of strikers in between the two teams. But then the second, third, and fourth best strikers all belong to Chelsea for me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, we'll see how that works out. Kuke is going for 1-1. Kez is going for 2-1. Chelsea win. Chelsea spent 200 million. And it wasn't the 200 million they spent. They actually recuperated nearly 70 million in player sales. So even when you sold Eden Hazard last year for 150 million, you still made 70 million on player sales. This is crazy. This team is, you got to admit the way that they're running, it doesn't matter what the results are and what they do on the pitch. This team is being run really well. They know how to make sure that the money that they spend works for them and not against them. Not like Arsenal giving away players for free. Ebony, who wins this one?
I think it'll be a very, very, very tight draw. You know, I mean, Brighton, I think people underestimate Brighton because, you know, they're not a glamorous team. But I think it'll be tight. I really think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Good. I'm hoping for that. That would be good. Let's see. Where are you going with this one?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a rout. I think that Chelsea are just going to walk all over them. And do you know what, Werner? 2 to 3 goals. If he doesn't get a hat trick tomorrow, I'll be surprised.
On his debut.
Listen, the man's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot to prove. And if you look at the way he's playing at the moment, come on, man. He scored in Germany's game.
I was going to put him in my fantasy team, but I decided against it and put Anthony Martial in there instead.
The only issue that he might have this season is he hasn't come up against tough nut defenders. And there's a lot. One thing that we've got to think about with the Premier League, we haven't got the prettiest football, but we've got tough man football. And there's been plenty of forwards that have come to this country, had that kicked out of them and said, "No, I ain't playing anymore," and they're gone. They're gone after a season. So if it's not the weather, it's the defenders that's taken them out. But the thing is, he's played in Germany. Germany's not the warmest of countries either. So when it comes to the weather, he'll be fine with the weather. It's whether he can go up against the tough nuts of the Premier League defence.
Excellent.
I reckon it'll be 4-0 to Chelsea.
So Serge, you're our last one before we close down. Where do you see this one going?
Unless Brighton rip up the script, I can see Chelsea winning. I'll just stick with my original hand. I think 3-0 to Chelsea.
Right,
at London by the Sea. So it's not. I mean, if they'd got somewhere like Sheffield and that, they might have struggled. But I think London by the Sea, they do all right. 3-0 to Chelsea.
Excellent. And guys, for everybody knows that the Man City Aston Villa game is postponed, so Drew couldn't get his glory out on that one. But
it would have been double figures, but
that was my upset.
It was listen, towards the end of last season, Man City three out of their last 5 games, they were like winning 5-0. I was like, what's going on here? They were making a real statement.
4-0.
We're amazing when there's nothing to play for. If there's nothing to play for, we are the best team in Europe. We come up against Lyon when there's something to play for, and we are abjectly shit. So.
Excellent. So, guys, that's it for us for our first Premier League podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I hope some of you guys will be back next week so we can talk football. We can see how our predictions did. I think that would be the main thing. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you want to come back on the show, just send me a message Friday 10 o'clock and we can talk about Premiership football and how good our teams did or how good they didn't do. So we'll leave it at that, guys. Any closing arguments from any of you?
Thank you very much, Neil. Thank you very much.
That's okay.
I know I called you guys late, but
no, that's fine. It was fun. It was fun.
Very good fun. Cheers, Toby.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot. Cheers,
nice
guys.
talking to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Thanks, Ian, for turning up. Thank you, Drew, for being a part of it. Brilliant, guys. All right, that's it from us, guys. At 101, I hope you guys in the chat enjoyed it, and that was a look at week 1, and let's see what happens tomorrow morning. Let's see the team sheet. Take care, everybody, man. Peace out.
See you later. Okay, bye.
Later.
Okay, man.